How you doing this afternoon?
Very good, thank you.
Glad you want to take some time out and talk to us. We're just trying to get out in the community and get some interaction and make some contact about things that are going on in the community and
Okay,
community police relations.
great.
I have a couple questions.
Okay,
Okay. How long have you been a citizen of Columbus?
I moved here 7 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Um, how would you rate the police in your neighborhood from a scale from 1 to 10?
I'm gonna have to give it a 12. I moved here from New Jersey 7 years ago. I initially moved over here onto Sheldon. Lived there for 3 years and now have been on Moeller for 2.
Wow. Great. Great. Um, have you ever been a victim of a crime?
Yes, and that's why the rating for the Columbus Police is a 12. I unknowingly moved in right next to a convicted felon who's a drug dealer. When I moved in, he was in jail. And 3 months after I moved in, he got out of jail, and that's when my life in Columbus changed. It was at least 4 break-ins. I was harassed constantly. They would throw trash in my yard, spit at me. It was lawnmowers, my TVs. It just was a horrible, horrible situation.
Now, when you reported these incidents to the police, did you get some response from our community
Absolutely.
liaisons?
Yes. So, attending the Vassar Village Civic Association meetings, our community liaison asked me to stay after the meeting and took all my information. I showed him the pictures I took through my cell phone, and we don't have enough time to go through all of this today, but
Absolutely.
I can give you the highlights that he went above and beyond to the point where he advised me what my rights were, what I could do to help the police and to help myself feel safer in my home. And he would go out of his way to follow through. And if he couldn't help, he put me in touch with who could. And when the harassment got really bad in the last break-in, they took all of my belongings, my family heirlooms with people that aren't with me anymore. And he went over and confronted those people at 11 o'clock at night because he saw the lights on and he knew that it had to be them involved, or that they knew something. And he, to me, went above and beyond by confronting them. He asked to see the people who were in the house. And my friends urged me to move out after the 4th break-in, but I love this area and I've refused to leave my home because other people are doing wrong things. I wasn't going to back down. I felt I needed to stand up for myself, but I couldn't have done that without his support.
And I'm for one, I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm glad that you stood firm. You shouldn't have to leave your home, your community, because people victimize you.
Yeah,
And I'm glad that officer went above and beyond to help you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
And-
Officer Medley and I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
no,
my,
no, I was
my
gonna ask,
daughter,
what's his name, if
my
you remember?
Officer Medley, and then my daughter who lived on Ann, and unfortunately her incidents with being a victim caused her to have to move for her own safety. She was a victim of domestic violence. The gentleman, well, he's not a gentleman. The man, he's not even a man. The scum that beat my daughter and kept her as a hostage in her house for 6 hours. If it wasn't for Officer Graber and Officer Mancini, who took quick action, they knew the history of what goes on in this area in the neighborhood. They were able to arrest him while my daughter was in the hospital going through all that goes through when you're a victim of that. And we got to see on the Ring camera, we were up in Dublin, we got to see on the Ring camera this Columbus Police Department surround the house, and they went in and arrested him, and he was put in jail, and was held responsible for what he did. But due to how screwed up the system is, he's back out on the street, and I have a problem with that, because everybody worked together to bring him to justice, and then shit just craps out. And that's something that I feel in this area is a huge problem. I see firsthand what you guys do and what you contribute, and then when it gets into court, you know, it's
out of our hands.
Yeah, and it just there's a huge disconnect.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just, it's not fair. Not
Yes,
fair.
ma'am. I really appreciate you giving us that story and giving us an understanding, because that's what, you know, we deal with a lot of situations, and a lot of times we don't get to know we don't get the backstory and the effect that it has on a victim, and I just really appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
To have that fear, no one should live in fear and
Absolutely.
be fearful to take their trash out, to walk their dog,
Yes.
to sit out in their yard.
Yes, ma'am.
People shouldn't have that fear, and that's one of the things that Officer Medley told me. You should not be afraid and feel that you're a prisoner in your own home, and that is exactly what I was until they cracked down and got rid of that drug dealer. They were just relentless. The narcotics unit, I took pictures, and it was definitely a team effort. And whenever I sent in pictures or called in that something was happening, they were right there.
Wow.
So
Thank you.
it's,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And
We thank you. We thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome.
We thank you for being great in your community. On another note, do you believe police should be in the schools?
yes, to me that's a no-brainer, especially given how easy it is for folks to get a hold of firearms. Not only for that, but I think that from the time I was little, you revere the police as people who are respected. They're, you know, there to help you and the community. So for that to be instilled in the schools, the resource officers benefit on so many ways.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, and that's missing too. And I think this day and age, you need it more. My generation, we were brought up differently, where I think that, you know, you learn that you respect certain folks, and that's just the way it is, and you kind of grow into it till you can learn it yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
So having officers in the schools is definitely multiple benefits from that.
Thank you. Thank you. What problems in your area that you see would you like addressed?
Well, I think the one that resonates the most in this particular area, this day and age, with the whole drug situation, the police should not be the ones administering Narcan. They're having one of the break-ins. I had 2 officers that responded immediately, and his partner calls up. He's like, we gotta go. They just got there. We gotta go. Somebody OD'd, 4 blocks away. And I was like, what? Wow. Okay, well, I get it. This is just a break-in. And the officers ended up not able to go because they didn't have any Narcan. I think there needs to be a special unit that goes out. The ambulance folks, they don't have, and the firemen, they don't have time to do that either. This city needs a unit dedicated for drug enforcement, whatever you want to call it. I think that that responsibility being put on the police, in my perception, that is not.
That's something that should be implemented in the police department.
Yes, there are.
A unit that would take care of our overdose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, other cities,
Right.
other cities do that, and the cities, because I've looked into it, the cities that take the Narcan away from the police and the fire department, guess what? Those cities improve their drug overdose problem because the addicts know, oh, we can't OD, in this
It won't
place, so
save
let's go somewhere where they're going to save us. To me, that doesn't help.
That is a different take.
Does not help the problem.
Absolutely.
So, look across the country in the cities that have had problems. What have they done to fix it? That is the one thing, and that's not just my opinion. That is fact that you can research. So I think Columbus needs that, and they need for people above you guys to get it. So whoever that is, I don't claim to know what all the dynamics are, but the bottom line is, everything just drops and loses its momentum when it gets above you guys.
Because it goes top to bottom.
Yep. So,
absolutely.
The mayors can stand up and say whatever, but your actions speak louder than words. And when all hell's breaking loose around you, what's coming out of your mouth doesn't mean anything.
Yes,
means
yes,
nothing. So, I would hope more people could see that what's happening around us and how things are crumbling. The people who have that decision power, I'm sorry, at the end of the day, they're responsible. That's what needs to be fixed.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you. Appreciate that. What do you think police officers in your community can do better?
That list is pretty short. Every encounter that I've had, and from being involved with this civic association and living here, anything that somebody's perception may be that you guys can do better is not your fault, not your responsibility. So I think maybe making sure that you guys are doing things for yourselves, taking care of each other, looking out for each other, because I'm not sure that that you take time to just live your life, be happy, and find goodness in things because you're just so under it. So that's what I think. Maybe you could do better, do more things for yourselves.
Thank you. So, in one word, what's the biggest problem in your city, neighborhood, or society? One word.
Government. And one word is tough for me. As you can see, I like to talk and when I'm passionate about something. But at the end of the day, I would say it's the government.
And last but not least, anything you would like to say or address, or just your feelings about your community, police, or anything that you'd like to say?
I would just like to say thank you, and I can't say thank you enough. If it was not for the support of the police through the last 7 years of every situation I've been, I probably would have packed up and left. But knowing what my rights are, and that I was encouraged to stand and not crumble in fear, I would say just thank you, and I pray for you guys, your safety, and that one day things will be better. I will never lose hope, and I have faith in all of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.